And good evening. I'm Trace Gallagher. It's 10 p.m. on the East Coast, 7 o'clock here in Los Angeles. And this is a breaking news edition of Fox News at Night. There are reports coming in that Israel has now begun its highly anticipated retaliatory strikes against Iran. Now, we are tracking these developments, and we are hearing that explosions have been heard over Iran proper, as well as in southern Syria, and explosions heard above Iraq. We do not know if any areas of Iraq were hit. We think there were some explosions in southern Syria, and there are reports of possibility of strikes in southern Iran near the Natanz and the Fordow nuclear facilities. Remember, these are the facilities that are said to be places that you can produce nuclear weapons. They also have a uranium conversion facility in Isfahan. And this is also in southern Iran, and there are reports that there have been airstrikes in that area as well. Let's get live on the ground now to Tel Aviv. That's where Trey Yingst joins us live. Trey, what are you hearing? What are we learning?
Yeah, hey, Trace, good evening. Right now we are following reports out of the region of airstrikes taking place in Iran, Iraq, and Syria. The Israelis at this moment have not confirmed that this is the retaliation to that massive Iranian drone and missile attack last weekend. But here's what we know. Some outlets citing American officials. And again, these are preliminary reports based on the information that we are gathering right now. We've reached out to Israeli defense officials and are waiting for comment. Local media is reporting explosions in the Iranian city of Isfahan. Isfahan sits about 200 miles to the south of the Iranian capital of Tehran. At this location, there is an Iranian nuclear facility. There are also reports of activity at other locations across Iran. This is significant because, remember, the initial reporting leading up to tonight had to do with what might be a limited Israeli response to this large-scale attack last weekend conducted by the Iranians. So in terms of the targets that were likely hit in any sort of strike and retaliation from the Israelis, you are looking at nuclear research facilities, additionally any sort of IRGC locations across the Middle East in places like Syria and Iraq, and then Iranian-backed proxies across the region. And so Iran-backed Iraqi and Syrian Shia militias certainly would be on that target list for the Israelis. The Israelis looking to send a message to Iran, if this is confirmed that they are behind these strikes, not to ever attack directly from Iranian territory toward Israel, and also to ensure that they will keep control of their proxies across the region. The big concern here has to do with Iranian nuclear aspirations. And I want to break down something very important here, Trace, because if it is confirmed that Isfahan was one of the targets for the Israelis tonight in this retaliation, it is significant for two reasons. We'll point back to June of last year when the UN nuclear watchdog was concerned that they went into a probe and found uranium particles that were enriched up to 83%, just short of the 90% weapons-grade material line, an indication that Iran is getting very close to the ability to create a nuclear weapon. Other watchdogs over the past several months have said the Iranian breakout time for such a weapon is basically zero. And this means Iran, in response to this, may not react militarily, but could say they are changing their nuclear doctrine. One other important note here, Trace, when we look at the Iranian attack last weekend. Iran, for the first time in their country's history, fired on Israel directly with what appear to be Shahab ballistic missiles. These are the missiles that if Iran were to create a nuclear warhead, they would use to target any country around the world. And they used this missile last weekend without a nuclear warhead, and they were successful in targeting Israel. So again, tonight, we are unable to confirm the reports at this moment, but initial reporting indicates explosions in Iran, Iraq, and Syria, and this does come on the heels of the threats of Israeli retaliation following that Iranian attack last weekend that included ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones.